It's Talk Funny, a podcast by Mark Bailey and other comics from all over. We ended up in Japan because we wondered if anyone in Asia was named Gene, because no one in Asia says hi Gene ever. The Talk Funny podcast from Nagoyaradio.com and Nagoyacomedy. Here's Mark Bailey.
We're back with Talk Funny. I'm Mark Bailey and Toufic's here.
Hello all.
So this topic today is about, it's an article in Japan today called Making the Punishment Fit the Petty Crime. And petty's in parentheses. Now, these are crimes, these are things that in other countries would just be considered pranks, or you're a crazy drunk guy and you did this thing, you peed outside. These carry heavy fines in Japan, and I think a lot of foreigners are not aware of it. I wasn't aware of some of these until I read the article. The problem is, if you're a Japanese guy, you're going to get away with this. If you work for Toyota, they'll, cut up some slack. But if you're a foreigner, this is one of my famous jokes, Japanese cops will tell you ignorance of the law is no excuse for breaking the law. It is, however, a qualification for becoming a Japanese policeman, ignorance of the law. Because they just pull it out, and you'd like this, they pull it out of their butt.
Oh.
They're making it up as they go. But
do they put it back in
they
to
don't.
make themselves feel good?
You'd like that, but they don't. It's so sometimes they make things up, but to prove a point, they want to make an example out of you, the foreigner, when they catch you.
I see.
You're not going to get a pass. What they consider crimes and the punishment. Smacking the head of a subordinate at the office as a form of tough love. That's considered assault.
What pencil neck put this into law? He must have been like a really lanky intern somewhere.
This apparently happened a lot in the 80s and 90s with Japanese among Japanese. You know, you're a young trainee and you smack him in the back of the head. Now, because of Me Too and harassment by bosses.
Suck it up. You've been through worse things, Japanese salary men.
So here's one I'm guilty of. I was stopped by cops riding a bicycle one-handed while holding an umbrella. Why would I hold a bicycle one-handed? Because I have an umbrella in the other hand, right? I'm responsible with the umbrella. I'm not hitting people. That's prosecutable under the traffic law. There's a fine for it, and you could actually be imprisoned for it. I've done that. Have you done that?
No, actually, I'm able to put the umbrella on the basket in front of me, and so it kind of protects everything below.
So you've got an attachment.
No, I don't have an attachment. I put some of the umbrella between my legs, and so the bulb of the umbrella is over my basket. It covers my hands. I just wear like a hat whenever it rains, so I'm like exposed from the chest up, so I wear a jacket and a hat. But from below, I have an umbrella to keep me nice and dry.
Oh, interesting. Okay. You've never done this one. Groping a female co-worker's buttocks. Imprisonment from 6 months to 10 years. My question...
She flatters herself if she thinks that's groping. Honey, I'm not interested, okay? Like, see, I really hate it when women flatter themselves. Like, one time I was in Tokyo, I was asking for directions, and this girl, I had my luggage with me, and this girl was, like, passing by, and I was like, oh, excuse me, do you speak English? And she just, like, raised her eyebrows and widened her eyes with, like, a small smile, and just kept walking, like, oh, you're talking to me? No, you can't talk to me. So, of course, I cursed her out. But then I'm like, how dare you think I'm, like, flirting with you? You know what I mean? Like, I'm gay, I don't... it's like...
Well, here's my question. Groping a female coworker's buttock. How about a male's coworker's buttocks? It's not protected by law?
It's encouraged by the law to make them feel good.
I mean, imprisonment from 6 months to 10 years. That seems kind of high. Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on if she's a 10 or not.
Yeah.
Or if he's a 10 or not, you know? Okay, here's another one. I wish I had thought of this one. Demanding a store clerk apologize for some infraction by dogeza, which is kneeling and touching his or her head to the floor. That's illegal coercion. That's what I should have done to my Family Mart manager.
If you did that,
if you make him do that,
okay,
that's an infraction.
I have men do that for me. I'm kinky.
Discarding a cigarette from the window of a car, violation of the traffic control law.
Oh, by me.
I agree. Same goes for drink cans or other objects. So it's polluting, littering. Same as States and Europe. Abandoning a live pet. I agree with this one. Fine up to 1 million yen. You shouldn't do that. Don't abandon a live pet. Kill it first and then abandon it.
Then send it to Korea to feed the children there.
Yeah, feed the children. Kill your pet like a responsible adult and then leave it in the garbage.
Yes.
Carrying a screwdriver. This is actually important, I think. You have a loose screwdriver in your possession. If you can't provide a reason why it's loose, if you don't have it in a tool pack, it's suspicious because it could be used for housebreaking or as assault weapon.
You can be suspected of anything.
Sure.
With anything.
Pencil. You have a pencil?
Actually, when I used to work for the American Embassy back home, I wasn't allowed to bring in paper clips.
Right.
Like, my goodness. And they know they deserve whatever I would do to them.
That's also in prison. That's what I've heard. I don't know.
No paper clips and no pencils. I can just strangle you with my arms. You realize this, right?
Because you can puncture your vein if you straighten it out.
Bush had a shoe thrown at him, and I have 2 pairs of those. You're not doing your homework very well.
Here's another one. Cheating on an exam for occupational certification. Well, all of Japan's guilty of that.
And why is that a crime? Just like say, okay, you're not qualified. Just
don't
go
hurt him.
Study. Yeah, don't hurt him. My goodness.
Purloining towels from a hotel. I've done this at the hotel too.
Oh my goodness,
that would be theft.
I have 2
It's in the Torah. It's in the Torah that you have to do that. You have to steal towels. What are you, a schmuck?
I have 2 prostitute friends, and we were in Turkey, and they had like this really rich client. They came back to the hotel room to me, and they were unpacking. The first one takes out the bathroom slippers. The second one takes out the bathroom curtains. The third one takes out. The third one takes out the towels, and then the first one takes out the scale. She stole the scale. It was just the most hilarious thing.
What was she, Japanese?
No, she's like half Lebanese, half Turkish.
Oh, okay.
And she's chubby, so I could see why she'd do it.
There's another movie. It's a mob movie about the mob in Las Vegas called Casino. Have you ever seen that?
No.
I look for jokes in movies. These are serious movies, but people are getting killed and stuff. But one of the jokes I noticed is that they had this Japanese whale, this Japanese big businessman who spent a lot of money on gambling. So whenever he came to Las Vegas, they would make his plane delayed, so he had to stay another night. But while he stayed at the hotel, which was free, they were fleecing him at the casino. He lost all the time. So he had to keep staying to get his money back, and he never did, right? And the joke was his wife was stealing the towels. So they said, we have cameras in the hotel rooms. There's a Jewish guy running the casino. And he said, we saw her stealing the towels, the shower drapes. The sign says, do not disturb. She stole that. She stole the light bulbs. She stole part of the toilet, the top of the toilet seat. She stole everything she could. She stole parts of the patio. There was a cabinet that was bolted to the wall. She stole that.
She cut off part of the mattress and stuffed that also inside.
He said she stole everything except for the sink, and she tried to steal that. And he said, joke's on her because all of that is only worth like $700, what she stole. And
the casino made a lot more.
And the casino made $17,000 a day on him. Here's one more. I think a lot of foreigners don't understand this. You can go to jail for this. And remember, you're a foreigner. If a cop wants to make an example of you, he can. Tapping into a train station's electrical outlet or any store to charge your phone. It's called
being cheap.
Theft of electricity. Even if it's at least 5 minutes, there's a fine $250,000 and up to 1 year in prison for stealing 5 minutes.
For plugging your phone in a convenience store.
Any store or any train station or any institution. That's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. What's more ridiculous is that defamation also carries a very hefty fine and 3 years in prison. And, it's ridiculous. I was accused of defaming a professor because I went to complain to her to the harassment center. And she's like, oh, well, if you don't withdraw your complaint, I'm gonna file a defamation lawsuit against you because you spoke badly of me behind my back. I'm like, that's their job, is to hear me rant about you so that I don't have to set up a website with your name and your pictures.
What's the purpose of harassment center? Don't do that. Don't harass.
Exactly.
Don't do that. It's anti-harassment center. It's like in Congress, they had a sexual harassment law, and I was thinking, I think that happens anyway. You should probably want an anti-sexual harassment law. Because you don't have to enforce it. It's happening.
We train you to grope in the most efficient way.
You have to. Yeah. There was another one called, when I worked for the government, I'd write speeches, and there was one called the mandatory pollution law. And I said,
what?
And what they said was, it's mandatory that you not litter. And I said, you need not in there.
Yes.
It sounds like I have to litter.
Yes.
I have to. It's the law.
Yeah.
I think a lot of foreigners, I've done that. Have you done that? You recharge somewhere? I've done that. I've
had to do it because, in Tokyo, you cannot get around without Google Maps. It's just impossible to go anywhere without Google Maps. So I need to go to the convenience and charge sometimes. Nobody gave me flack, but if they did, I'd be like, oh, what's up, dude? I don't speak Nihongo, so don't and they just leave.
They have signs. They don't want the students to be recharging their phones. I don't mind because I asked them to do research. If you don't know what I said, figure it out. Use the internet. Figure it out. Do what you would do in a free country and use the internet. And I don't mind if you have to recharge your phone. I had to call in sick for another place and I need my phone recharged. They want to charge them tens of thousands of dollars. Basically, this is their home for 4 years. They need to be comfortable here. What does it cost you? what is it, $500 a year if everybody charged their phones? You're charging them a lot of money.
Well, to be fair, it might not just be their phones. It could be also their laptop and whatever other. I mean, you have to, when loopholes are created, you kind of have to, like, cut something somewhere to prevent them from taking advantage of that slippery slope. Okay, phones are okay, laptops are okay, but what about generators or like car batteries or whatever? Because back home, I've had people who like they charge like really, really sophisticated equipment with like university outlets, and the university's like, oh, I guess we're gonna have to hike up tuition next year. And we're like, no, don't do that.
But if you go on that path, what's next? Just teach the class with the lights off?
Exactly, yeah.
And then no air conditioning?
Ridiculous, yeah.
Oh, another one that was on the list I forgot is urinating in public. I learned that.
Did you say urine?
I learned that from Japanese older guys. I saw them peeing outside. Well, if I have to go, I can do that too. No, you can't. And in the States, it's gotten really out of control. When my kids stayed in a homestay with my parents in the States, my dad said, I looked up in our neighborhood how many sex offenders are registered. He said, on our street, there's 20 sex offenders registered. And I said, yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. A lot of those are guys that were caught urinating outside. That's true.
There should be a band called Sex Offender by now. It's such a great name, Sex Offender.
But I mean, you're caught with your genitals out because you're urinating in public. Listen, that's the most natural thing. That's the first thing. When
just don't look at the junk people. Ugh.
But I mean, cops consider that indecent exposure.
Uh-huh.
But here's my question. The thing with #MeToo, okay? I had a problem with someone in my family. They were worried about a maid filing a complaint because the maid walked in on my uncle while he was urinating. Now, she can claim indecent exposure, but no, I don't think she can. She walked on him.
Yeah.
And then later he walked in on her. And in both cases, by the screwed up thinking in the States, the woman is always the victim.
Right.
Listen, if the woman walks in, she's the perpetrator.
Look, if
the guy walks in, he's the perpetrator.
See, feminism has to be reflected in the law now. Like, stop giving this advantage to women.
Can't have it both ways. And the Me Too movement is actually hurting women now. It was good intention, but it's hurting women because men will not have lunch or dinner or meetings alone with a woman.
There's so much room for them to abuse this. It's unfortunate.
And we were talking about politics before. People were saying, well, Trump should step down, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I think I understand your politics, this person's politics that said this. I think you'd like Pence less than you would like Trump.
Yeah.
And that's the result.
Do
you want President Pence? Because that's what you're praying for. Think about it. Think about it, right?
Yeah.
And then another thing is Pence, there'll never be a scandal on him because he will not be caught with another woman. And people are making fun of him. But now, that was pre-Me Too. They were saying, pre-#Me Too, Pence is afraid to have dinner with a woman that's not his wife. Yeah, Louis C.K.
But he's not afraid to have dinner with a man, and who knows what might happen.
Well, Louis C.K.
Mr. Pence, do you know what one of my fantasies is?
All of the scandals, Bill Cosby, all of these scandals of men with women, now do you see why he doesn't want to do that? I think if he became president, you're not going to catch him in a sex scandal like that.
This is why I understand why some straight white men kind of go to the right, because in the right, they're kind of adored and they can do no wrong, whereas on the left it's like walking on electric eggshells. And it's the opposite for like gay people. For gay people on the left, we are adored. Like in liberal circles, I'm so validated and everything I say is funny or important.
Wanda Sykes, okay, so she said something that was intriguing to me. They said, well, did you vote for Trump? She goes, of course not, I'm a black lesbian. And I was just thinking, and? Well, black lesbian, this not a landowner? You don't care about taxes? You don't care about borders? Grouping someone, these people are Hispanic, so they're going to vote this way. These people are black, they're going to vote this way. Well, in the last election, that did not happen.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't predict that.
People have different priorities, and their identities don't always seep into those priorities. I know lesbians who are right-wing.
They interviewed a lot of Muslim guys who've been in Detroit for 30 years.
Yeah, and they voted for Trump,
They voted for Trump.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, because they don't want new elements coming in. And a lot of Hispanics, they were grandfathered into the U.S., and they're against illegal immigration. They voted for Trump. You can't just look at someone and say, she's a black lesbian, he's a gay Arab, he voted against Trump. You don't know his situation.
That's right. But, to be fair, sometimes I think minorities want to vote for the worst candidate so that they feel powerful. Oh, okay, I'm picking the more difficult option. I'm picking this. I'm choosing this,
The only exception that I really like, I think, was Chris Rock. It was right after Obama got elected for the first time. And Chris Rock came up, and it's the elephant in the room. And Chris Rock said, so you might know who I voted for. Everybody laughed. And he said, I like it when white people ask me, did you vote for him because he was black? He goes, Of course I did.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for this.
Yeah.
You have to be really careful. When I was in radio, my boss told me there's no such thing as bad publicity for a DJ. And so it happened to me in Japan because I was telling jokes, and the producers were like, well, if we fire him, he's not going to say anything else, and we're not going to get any more letters. The more letters we get, we know they're listening.
It's the law, yeah. It's
that's
the law
Nielsen ratings.
Yeah, it's the law of 10,000. Like, the more exposure you have.
And I started, Radio I was open for only 10 years. I started 2 weeks before they opened, helped them test their broadcast. I was there until the end. I was the only one there until the very end. And I got more hate mail than everyone else combined. And I loved it.
No, you don't say.
Yeah, I've changed
How
a lot.
could they?
Why? Well, you know me. How would I get that?
Who were your co-hosts? A bunch of nuns?
No, I was me by myself.